There is a storm coming, an event like the world has never seen before. The emerging event will have little to do with weather, but more about developing situations that were foreseen many years ago. We have always warned you during severe weather and news events that affected many. Now, Channel 1 Atlanta begins a new series to warn you about what's coming soon and make sure you are prepared. Join us on a new journey, as according to a recent survey, a lot of people believe we are living in the last days. Current news events show us now more than ever. In history, time is setting the stage for the coming storm, a new series, now playing only on Channel 1 Atlanta.
Promised, we are going to continue to give you updates on this situation developing out of Rockdale County after a fire took place at a chemical plant. It happened around 5 o'clock in the morning. That's when all of this situation unfolded. And now we are getting even further updates, and we want to bring those to you now live. We have learned now that all of Rockdale County has been told to shelter in place until midnight. That is according to the Rockdale County government. As far as why that is, they have said that some of the winds appear to be shifting south and they want to do this out of an abundance of caution. No word on why midnight is the deadline for this, but that is the latest. So for at least the next 4 hours, if you live in Rockdale County or you know someone who does live in Rockdale County, you are told to shelter in place. Now, you have probably been, we hope you have been joining us here for our coverage. I do want to go ahead and remind you that we have a full article on all of this on atlantanewsfirst.com. We have our Atlanta News First app where you can get breaking news updates sent directly to your phone. In fact, we just sent a push alert for this latest update from the Rockdale County government. And so I want to go ahead and show you what exactly we are talking about here.
Excuse me, where is your hot sauce bar?
This video shot from an Atlanta News First viewer from earlier. You can see what looks almost like smoke from a fire. This is actually a chemical reaction that happened at the biolab plant on Old Covington Highway in Conyers. We are told around 5:30 in the morning, there was a small fire. No word from officials. They say they don't know what caused it. They're investigating that. But that small fire caused the sprinklers to go off at this plant. Well, one of the products that they have in there clearly does not react with water, and that caused this chemical reaction. They had things somewhat under control, but then that fire reignited, we are told by fire officials, around noon. And of course, you add more water and then you have a situation like this. So even though the fire has been put out, we are told as of around 3:30, 4 o'clock, that fire was extinguished. However, we still see clouds like this from several miles out. And we're told that it could be like that for several days. They referenced a similar incident that happened there 20 years ago in 2004, and that it took several days for this to kind of dissipate out of the air. Now, we do have two reporters out there, our reporters Bridget Spencer and Yasmin
Rockdale, and we'll bring you the very latest coming up. Jonathan.
And temperatures are going back to the 80s. We got a sample today, but it looks like mid-80s are in the forecast by the middle of the week. But the numbers will come down. I'm tracking them all next to my Fox 5 Storm Team forecast.
Fox 5 News at 10 starts right now.
We begin tonight in Rockdale County, where ominous black smoke and could be seen for over 30 miles as chemical fire rages on. at a biolab. Thanks so much for joining us for Fox 5 News at 10. I'm Eric Perry. All right, here's what we know so far. That fire first started around 5:30 this morning, and it reignited around noon, sending that big plume into the air. Over 17,000 people have been evacuated so far, as a shelter in place for all of Rockdale remains in effect until midnight tonight. We have live team coverage for you. Fox 5's Joey Dukes is breaking down what happened, talking with officials and experts. But we want to begin with Fox 5's Eric Mock. He's outlining that shelter in place and that evacuation zone. Eric?
That's right, Eric. At around 8 p.m., we all got our alerts on our phones. They all started ringing, saying that there was a shelter-in-place alert for all of Rockdale County. Before, it was just a portion of Rockdale County. Now, it's for the entire county. That means all 93,000 people who live here are being asked to stay inside and even turn off their air conditioners. The multicolored plume of smoke from the biolab fire created an ominous cloud over Conyers Sunday, prompting law enforcement to go door to door evacuating residents in its path, like Karina Lara, who was woken up at 7 a.m. Sunday morning.
I heard loud banging on the door, and then I see blue lights outside, and so I come rushing outside, and then all of a sudden the cop comes around and says, hey, we need you to evacuate immediately.
She was one of 17,000 people in this evacuation zone, covering a large part of Conyers north of I-20.
It's my life. I mean, I'm not going to risk my life, even if it's even if it may not be something, if it wasn't big, still, if they tell me to evacuate, I'm going to evacuate immediately.
Rockdale County officials shut down I-20 in both directions Sunday, from the Turner Hill Road exit to the Salem Road exits. Rockdale County Emergency Management opened up several shelters Sunday, including this one at General Ray Davis Middle School in Stockbridge, which is where Martin Barriga came with his family of 8.
So around 4 o'clock, we saw 6 police cars, and they told us to evacuate. So they told us to come to Davis Middle School.
But at around 8 p.m. Sunday, officials here said everyone had to move to a different shelter because the smoke plume had shifted south towards the middle school.
Now we have to evacuate again, so we're trying to look for a place to stay right now. And so we're trying to come up with a game plan.
The shifting of the winds southward then prompted county officials to issue a shelter-in-place alert for all 93,000 Rockdale County residents. The order lasts till midnight, and they're asking people to remain indoors, close and lock windows and doors, and to turn off air conditioners. This is not the first time Biolab has had fires. Residents here say there was a similar fire here in 2004 and another one in 2020. Newton County schools have now been shut down. Rockdale County schools were already out on fall break. And with that shelter-in-place alert, that's now in place till midnight. And officials said they would then review that. But a lot of people I saw online are expressing confusion and frustration, wondering if it's safe to do normal routine activities, and wondering how long this is going to last. Those are the same questions we've been posing to officials. We are waiting to get those answers about how long this could potentially last. You know, the one that happened in 2004, people said the smoke plume was up for 4 or 5 days at that time, and they're worried that could happen again here. We're now reporting live in Rockdale County, Eric Mock, Fox 5 News.
All right, Eric, thanks so much. New at 10, we've learned that Newton County schools will be closed tomorrow out of an abundance of caution. Rockdale County schools are on fall break this week, but they say any reporting staff will do their work from home, as those buildings will remain shut as well. We want to continue our team coverage tonight. Fox 5's Joy Dukes has the latest from officials on the incident. Joy, that chemical fire sent that toxic smoke or that smoke into the air. We can see that plume that's really slowly building. You're seeing.
Yeah, Eric, this plume is still very much visible tonight, and as Eric mentioned, this could be going on for several days here. And I know we talked a little bit about exactly what happened here, but we're going to talk about all of the details that we have so far on this once again. So around 5:30 this morning, there was a fire that broke at the biolab chemical plant here on the roof. That fire triggered the sprinklers inside the building. We're told the water caused a reaction with a chemical inside the plant, which is where the massive cloud of smoke you are taking a look at now started to develop. Now, we know fire crews responded and got that fire under control within a few hours. It did reignite. It has since been put out, but once again, as I said, the smoke is still very much visible here tonight, and we are told that it could be some days before this goes away. Rockdale County Fire Rescue and Rockdale County as whole are working together to mitigate this incident. And so we're doing it. We're working together, and we're going to keep moving forward to make sure everything is taken care of. Now, the EPD and EPA were both on scene here earlier trying to kind of assess this situation. One thing that is unclear to us at this point is exactly what these chemicals that are filling the air are made of. We just aren't clear on that, and they have not shared that information, and that is something that we know is a concern of many residents, including a physician who lives about 5 miles from here. He tells me that has been the question that is top of mind for him since he got the notification early this morning. You'll hear more from him coming up in the full story on Fox 5 News Edge at 11. That's the latest here live in Rockdale County. Joy Dukes, Fox 5 News.
Joy, I have to ask, is there an odor in the air at all? What does it smell like? Does it smell like a fire, or what are you sensing out there with your nose?
It doesn't smell like fire, Eric, but I will tell you, as we were driving and getting closer, you certainly can feel a shift in the atmosphere. There is an odor. It's very kind of hard to sense, but if you are coming from another area, it will be apparent to you. And I guess my nose has kind of gotten used to it at this point, but I did notice it as I was getting closer and closer there.
All right, Joy Dukes, thanks so much. Of course, we will continue to monitor the latest.
us knowing that you folks are out there, that's what keeps us company, and that's what makes this job so pleasurable to do every single day, and has been every single day for the 25 years I've been doing it. It's not nice to wake up to a screaming alarm clock at 2:30 in the morning, but it's the greatest feeling in the world when I come in and I sit down and I punch that button and the microphone light turns on, and then I know that it's my time. It's my time to do what I feel like I was called to do in this life.
Mark's he's a pretty good feller. We love him.
They're going to keep me, I hope.
I think so. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate him. There's times in the morning on 104.3, I listen to you at 9 a.m. and it's always fun, and you can tell you enjoy your job and you do a really good job of it. And but yeah, there's power over here in Biltmore Town Square, and Miss Ingles and this stuff. It's all cash only, but I know Biltmore Park is pretty devastated. Yeah. I mean, there's multiple trees on top of multiple homes, and but yeah,
it's a situation for sure. By the way, how much do I need to make this checkout for you too, to saying all that nice stuff?
Now that we're talking, now that we're on the phone.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You'll learn real quick. You better not take a check from a radio guy. All right.
All right.
Hey, Coach, thanks so much, my friend. We really appreciate the kind words, and it means so much that you listen to the station and that you're with us. It doesn't matter which of our stations it is. We're just glad to have you as a listener.
Yes. Hey, thank you, guys. I appreciate you. Keep praying. I'm a PK. I'm a preacher's kid. So you know it. Just keep doing it.
Absolutely.
You know, people I don't care if you believe or not. There's a lot of devastation. I've seen a lot of it. You know, when you coach for 36 years, these communities you go to, you know, I'm an Iowa farm kid. I grew up on a 3,000-acre farm outside of Iowa City. And I remember the 93 flood. And people say, have you ever seen it this bad? I'm like, yeah. And yet you don't want to insult anybody because they look at you like you're crazy. But I'm like, there was 46 feet of water in the 93 flood. And I remember the harvester, I don't know if I know you guys aren't farm guys, but the harvester silos are taller than the barn, and the water was to the top of those silos.
Holy cow.
Yeah, that's a lot of water.
Yeah, it just devastated. I remember at that time, I think I was 23, I was working in a maximum security prison, and they asked us if we would go and sandbag, and sure, so we did, and it was for nothing. I mean, we tried, and that's the devastating part when you sit there and go, I sandbagged for 15 days straight, and it didn't make one hill of beans.
Yeah, nature's one bad mother. I mean, you can't.
Oh, it is. You know, when she says it's mine, she's taking it back.
Right.
You can have it. I don't want it. Yeah.
Thanks for the call, Coach. We really appreciate it.
Very much so.
Yeah,
God bless you, sir.
You guys too. Have a good evening.
Yes, sir.
Take care, brother. All right, let's. Why don't we go over to a listener? I believe this is Mary. Hey, good evening, Mary. You're on the air with iHeartRadio Asheville. How you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm great. Is this Mark Starling?
Well, you got
Mary, you sound funny.
You got a really rough voice, Mary. I got to tell you.
What's with the caller ID said? I'm like, dang, that's a mean Mary.
Well, you know, the wife's in charge of the finance.
Hey, I got you.
There you go.
Hey,
Smart
dude,
woman.
I get.
Smart
We're married, fellas. We totally get it.
I get it.
Yep. Listen, this is Mark McCraw, not Mary McCraw.
Hello,
Okay,
Mark,
Mark.
sir.
You've got a fine name, by the way.
And it's a damn fine name. So I didn't mean to say that on the
you're
air.
fine.
No, you're fine, us, man.
No, look, I am in Hoopers Creek, which is near Fletcher, but is not in Fletcher.
How's it looking out there?
I'm in Hoopers Creek. Man, it's a disaster area, just like everybody else. But you know, I didn't call to talk about that. I just wanted to give kudos to my neighborhood, man. I'm so proud of my neighbors. My Hoopers Creek Baptist Church preacher, Philip Youngblood, and his guys, man, they've been whacking trees and dragging stuff. And we have a bridge out, and they actually went in and made homemade barricades to keep people from going over the bridge. The bottom of the bridge is washed out. I'm just proud you where I'm from, and I know that I'm not the only guy in these communities that's proud to be where he's from.
Brother, I can echo that sentiment from the bottom of my soul. Yeah, absolutely. Golly.
There's a lot of people are missing loved ones, and I thank God I have been able to speak to my loved ones today.
Amen.
But I'm just telling you, man, we live in the best place in the world, and I know it's dark, and I know it's cold, and I know you're thirsty and hungry, but man, it will help you. And you know, another shout out, my son is a police officer in Hendersonville, and they're working night and day with very little resources. Their communication system is shot to pieces. They have hundreds and hundreds of calls. Henderson County's in the same boat. And, you know, and it's a thankless job, but those guys are there for us too. And that's our first line of defense, our first responders right to go to church with on Sunday. And when you see one, when you get back to church, you better hug his neck.
Amen. 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 Preach on, sir. Preach on.
I mean, I've been listening since y'all been talking. It's really the only outlet we have here, and I appreciate what y'all are doing, and somebody needs to hug y'all's neck too. But, there's a lot of positive things going on right now, and I'm just hope people hear my voice and your voice and know that there's a lot of love in this community, and there's devastation out there. I've seen a guy's house washed completely off its foundations, and him and his neighbors were out there trying to get his clothes out of it. There was no getting the house back, but it's just everywhere around here. Everywhere I've driven today, people just standing on the street because they don't have power and talking to their neighbors.
Yeah.
And that's maybe God blessed us a little bit with a little bit more coming together.
You know what, Mark? That's so funny. You bring that up. Me and my wife were talking about this very thing yesterday about how we're just as guilty. We get wrapped up in the scrolling on our phones, watching TV, stressing the job, stressing just stupid things. And we were saying, I talked to every single one of my neighbors yesterday, face to face, for the first time, I think ever. And me and my wife were talking how I think, and it's kind of a weird thing to say it's a blessing, but I think it is a blessing. Maybe God was like, you know what? You need maybe a little reset. And I'm not making light of anybody's situation. I'm not saying this is not a horrific situation, because it is. But
it's terrible.
The Lord works in mysterious ways. And sometimes we just need a little nudge to realize what it's all about. We were on the porch last night playing a game as a family. And I can't tell you last time we've done that. So is there some good coming out of this? Absolutely. I could not agree with you more, sir.
I didn't even ask anybody who they voted for before I went to check on them.
That's how I know you're good people.
I knew that was coming. I knew there was a punchline coming. I just felt it. I was like, he's going somewhere with this.
You know what? That's so true. It doesn't matter, y'all.
It doesn't.
We are all God's children. We're all neighbors. Mark, you have touched on something that's just near and dear to my heart. People helping people, neighbors, being just sweet to each other. We need that, and that's what we're seeing all over the place.
And I know I don't need to talk any longer, because you guys need to get back to people finding people and the things you're doing to help the community, and God bless you, and Lord, I hope he keeps y'all safe. But I thank you for what you do, and again, hug a cop, hug a fireman.
Amen.
Hell, hug your neighbor if he ain't too ugly.
Even if he is ugly. Because he probably needs it more than we do. Mark, your message is loudly received, sir. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Man, that is why I love Western North Carolina. I've been preaching this all
every time, right?
day long. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it so much.
Really was. We are at 17 minutes after 9 o'clock.
That's 10:17.
What?
You said 9 o'clock. What?
10 o'clock.
What time zone are you on, sir?
Listen, who's the
Ashley, do a time check for this man.
Ashley, can you make the next gen not be in military time, please? I have a hard time subtracting 12 after 6 p.m. at night, okay?
Well, you guys have been there all day. So.
Yeah. I was told there'd be no math, you know?
10:17. The year, my Lord, 2024.
Hey, can we just we should just go ahead and put this out there, because he deserves an awful lot of credit. Zach, our boss, Zach.
Hey, Zach, new boss, Zach.
I gotta say this, because he has put up with very frantic and frustrated text messages from me and phone calls when things weren't going necessarily right, and he has weathered it like a champion. And I just wanted you to know, really appreciate all of our local management here at iHeartRadio Asheville. It's just it's good to be a part of this team.
And Eddie McDougal, who just sent me a random picture of his dog on a stool in the kitchen. Look at this. Thanks, Eddie. I appreciate that.
That's a talented dog.
Yeah, it is. Mean looking dog. Pretty dog, but it looks mean. Looks mad. It's probably mad at Mark Starling. Eddie, thank you, sir, for saying howdy. We appreciate you.
Yeah, definitely a huge shout out to Zach, being the ringleader of all of these, all this chaos and all of these people. This is a big operation that it's taken us to get this information on the air, from the people behind the mic to the guys sawing down the trees, to Elon Musk and Starlink. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Zach Davis has been the ringleader of it all. So we so appreciate him and the engineering crew at iHeart. We've had people from all over the country contributing to our efforts here and trying to get us on air and keep us on air.
Yeah, Chris Berry and his team as well at 24/7 News Source. Those guys and gals have just been rock stars this entire time that we've been doing this. He's been lining up interviews for us and making sure that we're getting the information that we need to get, and making sure that it's concise. And we really, really appreciate that. Thanks will never be enough as someone who does this news thing day in and day out every single day. When you come in and things are, or you wake up and roll out of the conference room and things are ready for you, and you know what you're doing, and you've got a direction. It really is a huge thing. And it's just greatly appreciated. Super appreciated from Chris. We go back to the phones.
Yeah. Is this Miss Julie on the line?
It is.
Hello. How are you, ma'am?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
We're hanging in there. We're blessed, ma'am. We're very blessed.
I have a question for you, and I don't know that you'll have any answer, but maybe if someone's listening, they can call back in. We're in the Fairview area, out Old Fort Road.
Yes, ma'am.
And we have heard talk today about the potential of Old Fort Road being closed. We have a couple of undermined areas on the road. Obviously, bridges appending to Old Fort Road are out at Whitaker Road, out at Miller Road. And the concern would be, if they close Old Fort Road, would there be some type of highway patrol allowing residents in and out with ID, forms of ID and things like that? Do you have any information about that?
Not off the top of our heads, ma'am.
I've not seen any of that.
Okay.
But if anybody knows, if you have any of this information to share, that would be great to hear from you.
Awesome. Well, if you guys could, obviously people are listening, so if anyone does have any information, fire department, state highway patrol, whomever, and could call in and give updates, it would be much appreciated for, probably several thousand people out here on Old Fort that obviously were impacted at Craigsville, and then everyone else is working. And I will say our neighbors have been great. Everybody's working together. We're clearing roads. We're trying to get it ready for Duke to come in so that they can have access to the various properties up and off the main drag. But we're just, again, trying to find out if those rumors might have any, bones to them.
All right. We'll try to find out that information and get it on, ma'am.
Great. Thank you guys for all you're doing.
Thank you. God bless you.
Oh, thank you. We really appreciate your call.
My mama, Patricia, if anybody knows Patricia working for Duke Power, I bet she's been working nonstop since probably Wednesday night getting ready for this big storm. She's worked for Duke Power since she started as a meter reader when I was in high school. That's been a long, long time ago. But Mama, thank you for all the help that you're sending out and all the help you're giving Western North Carolina. We love you for it.
That's for sure. Mom. I love Eddie's mom. She's great.
Mom, she's pretty good people.
Yeah, Eddie's dad's good too. He's got a stern look on his face.
Yeah,
so a lot of times, got a lot of stern looks.
I know all about that.
And you can imagine having Eddie as an offspring. There was a lot of need for stern looks on one's face.
More than one whooping. I deserved one every day. If I didn't know what for, Mama did, and vice versa.
That's right. And if she didn't, the neighbor would tell. So
I guarantee you, my neighbors would.
It was fine.
My daddy is a retired police chief, and she was mentioning Mary was the first responders and state troopers. To all of the first responders, y'all are all heroes to us. I mean, military, first responders, EMT, firefighters, police, you guys are working nonstop. And I know 9 times out of 5 it is a thankless job, but we're here to say we love you. God, there's just no way we can ever tell you enough how much we love and appreciate y'all. Thank you for everything that you're doing. I know you're away from your families to help other families. God bless you.
Yeah, amen to that. There are a lot of hardworking men and women out there in law enforcement, in fire, EMS,
linemen too, man. Linemen, oh Lord,
line women, all of them. We just thank you. Will never be enough. And I'm sure they have to hear from some frustrated people.
Oh yeah,
and you know what? I know they take it with a grain of salt. And, one of the things that one of the officials in a press conference today pointed out, said, "Hey, listen. Linemen don't have the information you're looking for.
No.
So if you stop and you ask them questions, you're only slowing them down from getting the power back on."
Great point.
Yeah, and it was a great point, and I totally get it.
Well, and we get you want information, and the first person you see that looks like they're official something or other, you're hoping they're going to be able to tell you everything that you want to know, but it's just not going to happen. So let them do their job. Please be sweet to people. Please be sweet to people.
Mark, I was going to repeat just that, and that goes for our law enforcement folks and emergency personnel too. I mean, everybody wants answers right now, but we're still very much in a rescue period right now. There is still, as of earlier today, I think at that 4:00 news conference, there were still over 600 people unaccounted for. So they are still out there searching for folks right now. So right now is not the time to slow anybody down if you don't have an emergency. I did want to put it out there that if you have a missing person, I know this has been repeated a few times, but there is a number to call, but you can always call 211, and there's also a text number. You can text the word person to 40403. That's person to 40403, and you'll get a link where you complete a form with all the info. So if you cannot locate someone, we do advise you to take action there, because we definitely want to locate everyone that's unaccounted for. And here with the iHeartRadio Asheville team today, we've had people calling all day long trying to locate people. Also, people calling in just letting other people know that they're okay. And we want you all to continue to do that. We're live right now. We're going to be live again in the morning. The phone number is 828-240-9962. And guys, I came across this post that I wanted to share, that one of our radio brethren is actually missing in the Asheville area. Her name is Mary Dew. I don't think she's from around here. I believe she's from Michigan, but she was in what looks like Biltmore Village. She has not made contact with anyone as of yet. So her name's Mary Dew. And the last time someone heard from her, she lost power on Friday. And she's in the area with her 2 dogs. And she drives a Toyota 4Runner. And the license plate will be Michigan. So just hoping and praying that she is found.
If anybody has any information, by all means, let us know. I appreciate that update, Ashley. Thank you very much.
Jeez.
That's the scariest part about any of this, is just not knowing. If you can't get up with a loved one, not knowing if they're safe or not. And hopefully that's where we can come in and maybe give you a little help, a little comfort. If you are missing someone, you hadn't talked to them, if you want to give us a call, we'll do the best we can. We'll try to put you in touch, at least throw the names out there, and maybe somebody knows somebody who talked to them, or maybe they're listening. It's worth a shot. So don't be afraid to call.
That's right. We are at 10:27 now. I got it right that time.
I'm so proud of you.
Very much. Managed to carry the 12 or whatever it was. Subtract the 12. Somehow we got to 10. I don't know. That's all I can tell you.
10:27. You good man.
That's all I can tell you. The fact that I can even still do simple mathematics at this point is amazing.
We have us iHeart Abacus, so these whole things is as hard as I can click them.
I just count the headphone adapters. That's how I know.
Hey guys, another organization that I wanted to shout out was the United Cajun Navy. This is a group of boaters that came together to help rescue people during Katrina, and they've expanded their operations now that they're a large organization of people that don't just command boats, but fly helicopters, fly airplanes, and they're in our area doing rescue operations as well.
That is fantastic.
Let me tell you, the Cajun Navy, when the Cajun Navy shows up, the gloves are off.
Yeah.
I mean, that is like hardcore. That is hardcore rescue at its finest. Yeah. I mean, they're Cajun.
I ain't scared.
Right?
No. And they got good food.
Yeah, well, they do have good food.
So I'm just throwing it out there. I appreciate y'all's grub. And I'll yell.
I was kind of wondering, like, are they going to come up here? And then we started to get inklings that they were going to, there was something happening on, I think it was like Friday afternoon. I saw something online, and I was like, that's it. Man. This is when the Cajun Navy shows up, you have found yourself in a real situation. Yeah, because they don't just deploy for
God
anything.
Bless y'all.
Yeah, they are a fantastic group. We are coming up on almost 10:30. We are at 62 degrees. She is Ashley Wilson. He is Eddie Fox. I'm Mark Starling, and this is continuing coverage of the rescue and recovery operations for Tropical Storm Helena. We're going to take a quick break and check in with the news, and then we will be right back for our final half hour tonight. But rest assured, we will be back first thing tomorrow morning.
WKSF FM, Old Fort, Asheville. WQNQ FM, Fletcher, Asheville. WQNS FM, Woodfin, Asheville. WWNC AM, Asheville. WPEK AM, Fairview. WKSF HD2, Asheville. WKSF HD3, Candler.
The sheriff in the flood-ravaged area of Asheville delivers some devastating news.
We now have 30 confirmed losses due to the storm.
Buncombe County Sheriff Quentin Miller spoke at a Sunday afternoon press conference. Officials say hundreds are still unaccounted for following catastrophic flooding caused by the remnants of Hurricane Helene. At least 94,000 customers in the Asheville area were without power. Residents in some areas, especially Black Mountain, are having problems getting bottled water. Governor Roy Cooper is calling Helene one of the worst storms in modern history for parts of North Carolina. People in the Swannanoa River Valley in Asheville are under a mandatory evacuation order due to flooding caused by the activation of the North Fork Reservoir's auxiliary spillway. The city of Asheville is urging all residents in the affected area who have not already evacuated to move to higher ground. Those in need of assistance with evacuation should call 911. A shelter has been established at the Harris Cherokee Center in downtown Asheville. Officials in Rutherford County have used helicopters to make rescues in the Lake Lure Chimney Rock Village area. Emergency management officials say they have successfully airlifted several citizens who were stranded because of rising water. On Friday, authorities went house to house urging people below the dam of the popular lake to evacuate after officials feared the dam might give way. Authorities now believe the dam will survive the flooding. A temporary cellular satellite trailer has been delivered to the Asheville Family Justice Center. City officials say the tower will offer an opportunity for limited cellular reception within several city blocks of where it is parked. North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper is asking people to consider donating to the North Carolina Disaster Relief Fund. The fund will aid in the recovery of communities severely affected by the damage caused by Tropical Storm Helene. All donations made will go to disaster relief for the immediate needs of storm victims, such as necessities and emergency supplies. I'm Rebecca Hughes.
We're here connecting the community. This is iHeartRadio Asheville's continuing coverage of rescue and recovery efforts from Tropical Storm Helene.
Good evening. I'm Mark Starling. He is Eddie Fox. She is Ashley Wilson. And we are with you for about another half hour of our coverage tonight as we kind of dial things back just a little bit, mainly because there's just not a lot of information that's coming out all night. Now, it was much different when we were actually kind of in the throes of the storm and then kind of at the back side of the storm. We were getting information fast and furious. This is one of those lull times.
You should be at the house right now.
Who?
Anybody.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me. I was like, well, listen, I'll go if you want me to, but
No, I mean, you should be embedded for the night, and and this is the time of night where things, I think, set in and kind of weigh heavily on everybody. So just know that we're here with you, and we will be through the end of this thing. Like Mark said, till the last piece of sawdust is picked up and last drop of water is back to where it should be. And, we're honored to be in this with you right now, honestly.
Guys, before the break, we were talking about the United Cajun Navy, and I was just looking at their feed, and they were in Black Mountain earlier today, and they are still doing active rescues. Probably not right now in the dark, but they are saying that if you know someone that needs to be rescued or a wellness check, to DM them on their Facebook page, and there's a few Cajun Navy sites. So the one that I'm talking about is the United Cajun Navy.
Excellent.
Okay.
All right. I think we head back to the phones.
All right, let's do it. Welcome to the broadcast. What is your name?
Chris Henderson.
Chris, what's going on, my friend?
I wanted to talk to you guys about the Cajun Navy. I've got a friend who contacted me. First, I'm Chris, an expat from Weaverville, living in Swannanoa.
Do you take your passport when you go back home, just out of curiosity?
I do.
Okay,
I
good.
do, but I wanted to tell you guys, you need to call Eddie Harwood by his appropriate name. Like Don Corleone, he's Don Paintport. That's his name.
Don Paintport. Let me write that down.
You got to call him that.
Yeah.
All right.
Seriously, I've got a good friend, Emma Plank, that contacted me on behalf of the Cajun Navy. They've got issues up at Montreat, and they're looking for able-bodied folks. They got the Navy up there, and they just need folks to come up there and help them clear the way so they can get people out of there. And it's at 401 Assembly Drive, Montreat, and they're supposed to get in touch with John Bridges Sr., and John can be reached at 225-304-3436. These guys came all the way to help us, and we just need to get some of our able-bodied folks up there to help them.
All right, that sounds like an all call to me.
Absolutely.
If you're feeling froggy, it's time to jump, folks. But wait until the morning time to do it. Obviously, they can use the help, and if you've been looking to help, this is a great way to be able to do it. And you'll be doing it with a group of experts. These guys and gals don't mess around. They don't take chances. They get the job done. They do it right.
And it's Don Paintfork approved. So
right.
Well, I was going to say, these folks will do the job, and we know Don can handle a lot of things, but we need to keep him out of this event. We just need to keep him on the north end.
Duly noted, sir.
There you go. Hey, thanks for the call, man, and thanks for that info. We really appreciate it. You stay safe out there, okay?
All right, you too.
All right,
you got to take care. All right.
Welcome to the broadcast. What is your name? Hello.
Hello.
Hello, ma'am. Turn that radio down if you don't mind, please.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
You're all right.
What's your name?
Haley Bradshaw.
How can we help you, ma'am?
So my sister-in-law was last known to be in Asheville on Friday, and she supposedly got stranded up there when they shut the mountain down. No one's heard from her, and we're just trying to get word out to let her know we're looking for her.
Where was this again?
Okay. In Asheville.
And what's her name?
Christy McPeters. They call her Bubba.
Bubba McPeters. All right. All right. Well, if you happen to be listening and can give us a holler or get in touch with your people somehow, that'd be much appreciated.
Yeah, and listen, you keep checking back in with us, okay?
All right. Thank you so much.
You got it. Take care. Stay safe tonight.
We love you, honey.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh.
Yeah, guys, as we wind down tonight, just want to remind folks that we will be live all day tomorrow as well, getting that information out there, trying to connect people. 828-240-9962. That's why we're here. We're here to take those calls and try to, link people together.
Get people reunited.
Yeah, that's a really bad place to be. I mean, actually, you can speak to that. You couldn't get up with your pops. Just the not knowing. We were in that very same predicament for a couple of days. My wife, Amanda, who talks to her mom and daddy every day, like all day,
right,
didn't talk to them for 20 plus hours, and she was losing her mind. It's just, that's a bad spot to be in. So, honey, we're with you. We get it. Totally get it.
There's no question about it. 240-9962, 1-800-570-9962. Let's go to line 2 where I believe we have Michael, who is joining us. Good evening. Well, Michael's not joining us. Let's see here. We'll go to line 3 over here. Hey, good evening. You're on the air with iHeartRadio Asheville. Who are we talking to?
Michael.
Hello, Michael.
Hey, Michael. How are you?
Pretty good. I just had a question. Luckily, the radios have been working while communications have been out. But I heard that there was another tropical storm, possible hurricane coming.
I actually got word.
Direction.
I got word a little while ago. Zach Davis sent a screenshot of a tropical storm Joyce that's brewing right now. That's just fantastic.
Yeah, just wonderful.
Yeah, we don't know a whole lot about it right now, Michael, but it's brewing.
That's not good. Do we have any kind of contingency plan for how we're going to handle that, or we're just
we're just trying to make it through
hunker down
today.
and handle like we do?
That's
at this point, that's all you. I mean, That's all we can do. We can just hope and pray that the damn thing goes a different direction. That's the only thing I know how to. That's the only way I know how to put it. I mean, and I think, and I don't want to freak anybody out, but there's a second system out there as well. We don't have any idea where it's going to go. Both of these systems that are out there, Joyce, if I'm not mistaken, was the one that they thought was actually going to get absorbed by Helene, but it didn't. And it's still out there. And they were saying last week, the talk was that it was just going to go out to sea. I guess that maybe has changed situations. We'll certainly be looking at that information as we go through the early parts of the week to make sure that, keeping our eyes on this.
It's just going to make us stronger. We're over here in Haywood County in the Clyde Canton area, and it hit us pretty hard.
Yeah, I know it.
We
I'll
love
tell you
y'all,
what,
man.
These storms are going to make us mountain people mad.
You don't want to make us
I
mad.
can tell you what, I have not seen a sense of community like this in a very long time.
That feels good, doesn't it?
I've seen
love this
neighbors,
place.
friends,
Yes, sir.
family, everybody banding together. And, when we didn't have communications and cell service, all we had was the radio stations. And, it really brought us together. And y'all being out there and, continuing to help us find people, keeping us in the know with the news. We really appreciate it. We appreciate you guys.
We
Man,
appreciate
thanks so
you right
much.
back, my friend.
Michael, I don't know how old you are, but this was basically what it was like growing up in the 80s. You know what I mean?
But with brighter colors.
With a lot of
and a
brighter
lot of
colors.
spray.
Yeah, a lot of
I
hairspray.
wasn't born until 86. So.
You caught the tail end of it.
You missed the big hair, friend. You,
Tail end.
you missed, you
Thank
too.
you guys.
Thank you, brother. We love you, man. It's a small miracle. Me and my wife were talking about this last night. It's a small miracle that it's not oppressively hot or really, really cold. Because, man, it could always be worse, y'all. It could always be worse. All right, how about line 4? Is this Michael?
Yes.
Michael, what's going on, sir?
Doing pretty good. How are you tonight?
Well, we're blessed, man. We're just hanging in there. Good talking to you, man.
Good talking to you. Got a couple of things I'd like to mention to you.
Sure.
One is my son reminded my fiance and I earlier today that one thing that people need to know about their phones is that it is not set for a roaming. And if you move it to roaming, a lot of times people's cell phones will pick up and do a better job.
Okay.
You'll actually get a lot more information. The other thing I'd like to mention is a fella called in earlier, and he was talking about trying to help people out.
Right.
An organization that I used to be, I'm from the Outer Banks, and one organization that I was involved in was Rotary.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And we used to do a lot of times, obviously, scholarships, etc.
Right.
But the other thing is we also knew that we were from the Outer Banks. We got a lot of help from people inland. Those people should be reaching out and back to y'all. That's just my feeling. And the simple joys, one fellow on the Outer Banks, I remember during Katrina, he actually created his own shower on the back of the trailer. There were 12 of them, and that man on his own dime ended up taking that down there along with his church, and he was able to provide a simple joy. And that's the thing during storms that everybody should remember. It's the simple joys.
Yes, sir.
That assist. So just a couple of comments. The phone is the biggest reason I called in, because my fiance was not able to actually get calls out anymore. And then the moment he said, turn on your roaming, and it worked. So that's something that people might be able to connect with their loved ones.
That's good to know. Thank you, sir.
That's solid information. Thank you so much for that, Michael. We really appreciate it.
All right, roger that. Thank you.
You got to stay safe, man. Stay safe. All right, let's go to, I believe this is Gabrielle. Hey, Gabrielle, you're on the air with iHeartRadio Asheville. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Hanging in there.
We're hanging in there. We're hanging in there. What's going on?
That.
What's going on in your world tonight?
Well, I'm going to pass you over to my husband because we've been multi-calling, trying to reach in, but he's the one who wanted to connect.
Come on
Thank
in.
you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Do 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 do
Hello?
do do waiting on
Hey,
Gabriel's husband. Hello, sir.
Hey, how's it going?
Good,
we're,
man.
We're doing okay. How are you?
Great. I don't want to take up too much of your time. We've been listening all day, and I'm really just trying to figure out if you can tell me I understand that 26 is open south.
Right.
But can we take 25 from 26 to Greenville for travelers?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, you can. Highway 25. We got word today that Highway 25 is open.
Now, it might be slow.
It might be slow.
It's not going to be fast going.
Right. But it is open, and you can get out of town that way.
We're from Haywood. We have to leave, and I'm just trying to link up with family, and I really appreciate what you guys are doing. Thank you for letting us know.
Man,
it's our pleasure, brother. It's our pleasure. You guys just stay
have been
safe.
the only news we've had for days until, like yesterday. And
right.
Just thank you so much for what you guys did to get to the studio. We heard the whole story. It was pretty fantastic.
Well, we love you, man. We love you, man. No, you're the rock star. You guys be careful, all right?
Yeah, please be safe out there and keep in touch with us, okay?
All right. Thanks a lot.
You got it. Take care.
Thanks, sir.
There you go. We are at 10:45.
Hey, look at you.
63 degrees. I know. I'm getting better at this.
The
thing,
abacus
actually.
is working, Ashley.
That's 3 headphone plugs over here.
Carry the 1 meter.
That's right. Yeah. 2 VU meters and a headphone.
I hope we're providing some entertainment for folks tonight. Yeah, you could just hear it in that last guy's voice. I mean, he's got to be so tired. I mean, everybody is just so emotionally tired, physically tired, mentally tired.
Emotional. I mean, you take even the physical out of it. It's just the emotional strain of seeing things that you're not used to seeing, probably never will, hopefully God will never see again. And you put all that together, it's a lot for everyone. And don't think we're above it, because we're not. I mean, we're just as heartbroken. And this is our home. This is the place that we love. These are the people that we love. So, don't feel bad if you feel bad or if you're tired, because look, it's warranted.
Yeah, it is warranted. All of us are exhausted. Everybody.
Mark can't even tell time.
I can't even tell time. I
thought this was Sears.
When we went out, so before we had any of the iHeart engineers that came in, we'd lost communication and internet at about 2:35 on Friday, and we Tank and I, we said, okay, we got to figure something out here. We got to figure out a game plan, and we figured out a game plan, and then we saw one of our great sales reps, Jessica Manley. She came in. She and her husband climbed through the jungle out there that was 50 or 60 fallen trees to get in. And then our friend Jeremy Green came from ESPN Asheville. He said, hey, I've got the truck. If you guys can't get back on the air right now, why don't you just jump in the truck and let's go take a drive around, and that way you can get some stuff to talk about, basically, and then come back and do another few hours on the air. So we did. And you drive out there and you're just like, what in the world?
Yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah. You see humanity again, right? And you see the look on people's faces. And as we drove down Haywood Road in West Asheville, coming back to the radio station, the look on people's faces was so surprising until I caught a look of my own face in the rearview mirror. And I realized, we all look the same way.
Do.
We all have this look of disbelief. Did this really just happen? Did we really just ride this out?
Are we seeing what we're seeing?
Right.
It's a lot to take in. It really is. But we're all in this together, and we're all going to make it through this together. As
we start to wind our time down here, one thing that I wanted to mention is that I lived in New Orleans for a couple of years, and I lived there from about 2017 to 2019 or so. And, the folks that have lived there, always lived there, or were there at the time, I mean, they always talked in terms of before Katrina and after Katrina.
Yes, ma'am.
Like, this is an event that monumentally changed their world. And, that's going to be something very similar for our community, that the massive loss of life we've been talking about today. And we know that number is going to go up. And, we've mentioned the Cajun Navy a little while ago. I mean, and that was born and bred out of Katrina, people coming together and helping each other out through all of that. And and it made that community stronger.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I heard it said on Thursday when the storm was actually going on, someone said, this is going to be Western North Carolina's Katrina. this is going to be Western North Carolina's Superstorm Sandy. All of these things fit. This is Western North Carolina's Hurricane Andrew. All of these things, this storm fits in that category. Actually, I think you are so right on with that it will now be known as pre and post Helena. Right? That's where we are right now. It's just, it changes everything about the world, but it's changed everything about the geography of where we live.
Literally.
Yeah. I mean,
the landscape has changed.
Everything has changed.
Another thing that it changes, though, is your perspective, though, because
amen, sister.
So many of the people that I worked with at iHeart New Orleans were there when that happened, and I heard stories from some of those people that had to be rescued off the top of the buildings via helicopter, and they broadcasted it until they could not broadcast anymore. And then they took the operations to Baton Rouge, and all of the radio groups actually came together there to provide emergency information to folks down there. And the one story that really just struck me is that, there was a guy that I worked with there, and he would come to tears anytime he talked about it. He was like, we lost everything, but I still had my family.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I would trade anything, absolutely anything right now to have my wife, kids, and my dogs within arm's reach.
You take things like that for granted.
There's not a single thing I wouldn't trade. I mean, every guitar, find something that is a prized possession. There's not a single thing I wouldn't trade to have them closer to me right now.
Yeah.
This has been the hardest few days. Just going through what the whole year has been.
Yeah.
2024 has not been an easy year for a lot of folks. And this storm, it certainly doesn't make things any easier for anybody.
No, it does not.
I mean, I think all of us that are sitting here today, and whether you're sitting out there listening to us or those of us sitting in the studios and wherever we are, we got a gift because we made it through this.
Amen.
And I think that's how you have to look at it.
And I think it gives you a better appreciation of just living and life and the little things that we take for granted. Yeah. And we're so spoiled, y'all. I mean, come on. We are. You think about it with the internet and having things on demand.
Yeah.
Amazon at your house within 24 hours. It's just, we are so spoiled, and that gets yanked away. You're like,
I can't wait to see an Amazon driver again. I got to be honest with you. I cannot wait to see an Amazon driver again.
We've got UPS, Amazon, and FedEx always. We got a 2-year-old. We always need something, usually batteries and super glue. And they're just always up our driveway. I'm going to start slinging 20s at them when next time I see them. You take those things for granted, y'all.
Yeah,
you
really
take
do.
Things like a shower. You take things like making a Keurig fancy cup of coffee. Man, apple crisp macchiato. God, Starbucks. I love that damn drink. Oh, my Lord. It made me mad when the one on Patton closed down. But it's just we're spoiled. All of it. I mean, all of it. I'm just as guilty.
Right.
And when you don't have those little things, man, it just, I think God does this sometimes for a reason. Maybe it's a reset button. I mean, you thank God for it. Now, it may not seem like a blessing, but you appreciate your family a little bit more today. You appreciate the little things in life a little bit more than you did yesterday, or maybe even this morning. So, I think there is a silver lining here.
Yesterday, prior to everybody kind of showing up here at the station, there was it kind of felt like a running joke, and I think it might have been an unspoken running joke between Tank and I. And every time we'd go to a break, or we'd take a break or whatever, inevitably one of us would pull our phones out.
Yeah.
And we'd look at our phones, and one of us would say to the other, ain't nothing on that phone.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, this was the new light switch when the lights were out. You walk into the room and turn the light switch
You
on.
know how many times that me and my wife have done that over the past couple of days, knowing good and well it ain't going to flip on, and we do it anyway.
You just hope for it. You just hope that, maybe it's just going to make contact that one time, and it's going to work.
Just got some good news about the Salvation Army of Hendersonville.
Okay.
239 3rd Avenue East, Hendersonville. They've got breakfast tomorrow morning at 9 and dinner at 4. Until the last plate is served, first come, first served. Obviously, that's Salvation Army of Hendersonville,
that's great.
239 3rd Avenue East, Hendersonville. Aiden, thank you very much for the email coming in there.
Yeah, amen to that.
Yeah,
also, just saw this from, it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, Glenn Beck and his nonprofit Mercury One. They have 2 helicopters leaving from Orlando, landing in Asheville tomorrow.
Oh, wow. So
Mercury One Charities is going to be in the area. They do an incredible amount of work all over the world. And the fact that they are coming here is just a really strong sign that something very, very bad has gone on.
Ashley, have you seen Luke Combs' post from today?
I saw the one that he posted yesterday. Yeah. So, he and Eric Church and I know Chase Rice posted something as well. And all these guys trying to come together and, bring attention to Western North Carolina because, to everybody else, we're, a 2-minute news story at the top of the national news.
Yeah.
And, all those guys are from here. So they've got a big platform.
He said, me and my team have been making some calls, and I think we've got something really special lined up to help the Carolinas as much as we can. More details to come. So I don't know what that means.
He's going to play here at the radio station in the backfield. Yeah.
Well, we got a big old field out here, so we can set up a stage or something.
Bring your lawn chair. No, I'm only kidding. Please don't show up.
Put the lawn chair down. Jethro.
Right. There's
and I know Eric Church is teaming up with the Red Cross. I think he was sending people to donate at redcross.org/Eric Church. And hey, guys, on a lighter note, how many babies do you think are going to be born 9 months from now?
I got news for you. They better not name a single one of them Helene.
Baby.
Not a single one better be named Helene. I mean, but you know what? You're Ashley,
and me going fishing in the dark, line on
see what you started?
Counting the stars.
You're talking about phones being off, electricity being off. I mean, we're being forced to be together.
I know it. It's just going to end up with people getting naked. That's what happens. I'm sorry, but that's what happens.
I am not without my wife. Thank you, sir. No.
By the way,
not today.
You're sleeping in the sales building tonight, okay?
I'll sleep in the field out here. I don't care.
Hey,
you were
Ashley, you started it.
Yeah, it's so funny though that it's so true. It is so true. Someone write this date down: September 29th, 2024. Can someone count 9 months from now? I bet
child support. Right. Go ahead and tell you right now.
Oh man,
you like that nitty gritty dirt band though, didn't you?
Oh yeah. Well, we're gonna be. We're going to be wrapping things up here as a team here in a few minutes, but you just mentioned that breakfast from the Salvation Army tomorrow morning, and tomorrow's a new day. The sun is coming up in the morning, and if you are still in need of help being rescued, we've been saying it all day. People are coming your way. There's going to be new boots on the ground tomorrow, new resources in our area, and please do continue to reach out to us and let us know what's going on. Let us know how we can help. You can give us a call here at iHeartRadio Asheville, 828-240-9962.
Yeah, and we're going to be back here bright and early in the morning. Eddie and I, we're going to be manning the morning show tomorrow. So that'll be kicked off.
I'll sing again.
6 a.m. Oh, jeez. We're going to have to get a coffee maker in here. If I got
we don't have coffee, do we?
No.
See, I told you we're spoiled, man. Spoiled.
No, I'll be eating dry coffee grounds in the morning.
I got Pop-Tarts. Amanda's like, now you take these to work with you, baby. You need these Pop-Tarts. I'm like, okay.
Need your vitamins.
I appreciate that.
Right. Vitamins and minerals from the Pop-Tarts, if you will. We don't have a functioning coffee maker here because our coffee maker is actually hard-lined into the water system. I think they were actually afraid that Eddie or I might take it home with us because we were too cheap to buy our own. That's why they hard-lined it in there. I think that's what it is.
I mean, he ain't wrong.
If it's not nailed down, but yeah, so it's been an interesting. I do have some really good Irish tea though, Eddie. That's full of caffeine, so it'll work nicely.
Is that you mean whiskey like Jameson?
No, no. It's Irish tea. It's just
like I said. Is that Jameson?
No.
I thought it was code.
Don't poke fun at the Irish. Okay?
No. I'm in all the way. Are you kidding?
Ashley, can you come up here and, you're 80 miles away. Can you come up here and do something about this, please?
I have been advised to stay away from the area. So I am going to stay away. I will continue to help remotely.
Yeah, she's observing the 7:30 to 7:30 curfew. Sorry, we can't help you right now.
Thank you, Ashley, for all of your help, by the way.
Yeah, Ashley, it has been so great to have you along with us tonight. And pretty sure we'll talk with you again sooner before later, I would imagine.
Yeah, you may hear me on tomorrow, but kudos again to just the incredible work from this team in Asheville and the team in Greenville. It is a joint effort amongst many, many people and groups that have made this broadcast possible and for it to continue to happen.
Yeah, and it will continue to keep happening. There's no question about it.
Right now, tomorrow morning 6, we'll be back on.
That's right. We'll have all.
Lord willing, I hear the alarm clock go off.
That's right. And just a preview for tomorrow, what will be coming up. United States Congressman Chuck Edwards from North Carolina District 11 will join us tomorrow at 7:10 to talk about the federal relief effort and some of the things that his office is working on to try to get help and relief to Western North Carolina. So we will start things off in the morning with some interviews, press conferences throughout the day to get you the information that you need. 64 degrees. Ashley, thank you so much again. We really appreciate it. Hope you get some sleep tonight and get some rest. And we will hopefully look forward to being back on with you tomorrow.
Yeah, I hope you guys get some rest, and Eddie, enjoy the baby bed there in the studio.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to sleep a fool out of some baby bed.
There you go. Have a great night, folks, and we'll be back with you bright and early tomorrow morning right here on iHeartRadio Asheville stations.
WKSF FM, Old Fort, Asheville. WQNQ FM, Fletcher, Asheville. WQNS FM, Woodfin, Asheville. WWNC AM, Asheville. WPEK AM, Fairview. WKSF HD2, Asheville. WKSF HD3, Candler.
We're here connecting the community. This is iHeartRadio Asheville's continuing coverage of rescue and recovery efforts from Tropical Storm Helene.
Welcome in. I'm Rory O'Neill, and you're listening to iHeart's ongoing coverage of the rescue and recovery from Tropical Storm Helene. I'm joined by John Mounts, and we'll guide you through the next couple of hours as we reflected as to the response that we've seen from the community so far, some of the experiences of listeners, how they've endured the past few days, and we'll try to look ahead as we start the early days of this recovery from Tropical Storm Helene and all the devastation that's been left behind across Western North Carolina. In fact, this is a storm affecting multiple states. The head of FEMA will be on the ground in Western North Carolina on Monday for a personal tour. President Biden has said he also wants to come to the area once it is safe for him and that complicated entourage to come to the region. So more federal help and state help, both are on the way as road conditions are improving and more of those helicopters are landing to bring in fresh supplies. But it really has been a lot to endure for all of us ever since the storm made landfall, really surprising us with the level of rainfall in the mountains in particular, causing huge landslides, lots of flooding. Earlier today, we got a call from Jessica in Clyde. She was checking in with some of the conditions where she is.
Hey, Jessica in Clyde, how you doing this afternoon, sweetheart?
I'm good. How are you?
We're okay. Tell us what's going on around you, what you're seeing, kind of what's happening, and what information you might have.
Yeah, well, I was calling in because I don't know. This is the first time I've ever had any cell service, so I don't know if anybody's called in, specifically Clyde or Canton area, so I just wanted to let you guys know. I live near, actually, the town hall of Clyde, and it was absolutely devastating. I mean, I watched just across the street. The water came up to our house. Just across the street, we was watching homes float by, decks, everything. I know Canton, where the mill was, it was completely underwater. I know if you get off the exit at Canton, where Ingalls is, as soon as you go down the hill towards the mill, that soup kitchen, everything was underwater. I mean, churches were flooding. Here in Clyde, the town hall, I know the basement got flooded. It was an act of God that our house didn't get flooded. Right. The water came up to the backyard. But as far as gas, around here, I don't know of any gas station that has gas. I did hear earlier this morning that Ingalls was back up and having gas, but I don't know if that's still a thing now.
Okay.
And there's no power. And like I said, this is the first time I've ever made a phone call. So I'm really surprised that cell service is working right now.
Well, we're certainly glad that you were able to make that call and just know that there are resources and rescue efforts on the way with supplies. We do know that Haywood County is setting up water stations as well as there are several churches there. I believe it was the Silva. Let me see if I can find that exact name. I believe it was the Silva Baptist Church. They say that they are able to give people fresh water. Let me see if I can find that exact name. As far as your home, was your home damaged at all?
No, that's what I'm saying. It was an act of God. The house to the right and the church to the left of us, they got completely flooded.
Right.
It didn't hit us at all. And to give it in any kind of perspective, I walked down here to Town Hall, right on like the main street of Clyde, and the rescue boat was literally going down the main street. Like,
oh my goodness.
Oh wow.
It was, the river was completely up.
Right.
So it was wild. It looks like a tornado came through across the street. It's devastating.
Yeah, we can only imagine. I mean, it looks basically the same everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, I know you're probably starting to just be able to get back onto social media and start being able to look at it's a lot it's overwhelming, to say the least. And
yeah, absolutely.
You know, our biggest message to you is just take care of yourself, okay?
Okay, we will do. Thank you.
We're glad you're okay. Thanks for checking in.
I'm joined now by my colleague, John Mounts. And John, every time we hear these callers, it sounds the same, that it seems that Helene caught a lot of people off guard. They just weren't expecting this level of flooding caused by this storm.
And these stories, we're hearing stories like this all day long, Rory, and every one of them, people are saying the same thing. They've never seen anything like this. I believe somebody said that this was, I think it was a county manager who said that this was Buncombe County's Katrina. This was almost like 9/11 in terms of the devastation that we're seeing all over the place in Asheville and western North Carolina.
You know, and we're also starting to see some of the images get posted to social media because so few people have had cell service. I know it started to come back Sunday morning, but because so few people had cell service, the images that they did catch on their phones, they weren't able to upload and share. And that's happening more and more now. And the pictures and the videos are just absolutely jaw-dropping. You know, we also heard from another listener named Christian. Now, he described what he was experiencing, or rather what she was experiencing in Chandler.
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing okay. Where are you calling us from today?
I'm calling in from Candler.
Okay. How are things over in Candler?
Well, we are okay on this side. The other side of the road got hit really hard.
Okay.
The Mile Straight, that area, all the way down through Old Candler Town, they really got flooded really bad.
Okay. Old Candler Town, you said?
Yes. But I was calling to tell you that Pastor Matt Coleman and his wife, Michelle, just posted on Facebook about 20 minutes ago that they are at the Asheville Mall with tractor trailers of water and supplies and asked that people spread the word that people can come by and get free supplies if they can get there.
Okay, so
that's great to know.
That's the Asheville Mall. And
Asheville Mall parking lot.
Okay, and who is that again?
Pastor Matt Coleman and his wife, Michelle.
Okay, Pastor Mike Coleman?
Matt.
Oh, Matt Coleman, okay. And his wife, Michelle. Okay, and that's going to be at the
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
And a reminder for people, even if they are on well water, because of all this flooding, they are still recommending that even people who use well water should be boiling that water before eating it or before drinking it or cooking with it, just as a precaution because of a lot of those contaminants. And we are expecting some announcement by the county and the city in the next few hours about water and food distribution locations. More and more of those are standing up. We've got either small volunteer groups like individual churches, as you heard about the pastor's operation, or international relief organizations are also stepping up and really now on the ground. We saw that the World Central Kitchen, Chef Jose Andres, he's already set up his team at Bear's Smokehouse and Barbecue on Cox Avenue in Asheville. Now, they started giving out food on Sunday afternoon, but those World Central Kitchen chefs, they deployed to all kinds of conflicts. They're in Ukraine, they're in Africa, they've been in Florida since Helene made landfall. So I know them, and I know that they will be expanding their response across the Asheville neighborhood. And as we get some more of that information, specifically about distribution points, where you can pick up that water, where you can pick up food, maybe blue tarps, other supplies, hygiene products, sanitizers, all that stuff. As we get more and more of those operations finally getting established, we'll try to bring you up to date with them there. But, one of the big areas of focus has been Black Mountain. I know there's been a lot of questions about the relief there, but it's difficult to get some hard answers about what's unfolding. We did get some pretty grim news from the sheriff at the 4 o'clock press conference on Sunday afternoon when they announced that they had confirmed 30 fatalities all across the county. He wouldn't go into more specifics about where those bodies had been recovered, but it is obviously a harsh reality, and it is also a sad fact that number of fatalities is likely to climb as we continue and shift from an emergency response to a full-on recovery operation. And about that area in Black Mountain, we got a call from that our team took earlier from Katie, who was trapped with others in Black Mountain.
Hi, we're way up Route 9. We're in Black Mountain. We're totally cut off and isolated. We're 9 going down was washed away. We're up off of Broad River Fire Department. We have no way out. There's about 12 families here. Broad River Fire Department was flooded 8 feet up with water and mud. Trying to go left on the on Route 9. The bridge is covered in power lines and trees. That's blocked. So we're hoping that we can get food and gas so it can drop something off to all of us.
Okay, so you guys are at the Broad River Fire Department?
No, we're up the road. We have a development up the road from the Broad River Fire Department.
Okay.
So we spent 2 days starting Thursday cutting our way down from all our homes up here and down to the Broad River Fire Department and saw the devastation down there.
Right.
So.
All right. Have you had any contact from any emergency officials as far as right now goes?
No. No, even the fire department that usually work there, the men that are working there, they're not there. Right. There's volunteers right now just trying to clear out the fire department and just trying to, they save some of the trucks, but we're going to be running low on food and gas, and it's a little dire.
Yeah, it certainly sounds like it. Okay, we're hoping that the rescue officials, the folks in Black Mountain in that area are listening. We will certainly pass your information along. I've got it down as the development above the Broad River Fire Department, and you've got 12 families up there?
There's a bear track. There's Upper Rock Creek Hills. We're all just trying to band together and just hang tight. Okay. There's also families that are at the bottom of the mountain as well, and thankfully, everybody's okay.
Okay.
So there is a little boy down there who is prone to seizures, and the family is worried about medical help. We can't get anywhere.
Yeah. Listen, do us a favor and check back in with us later this afternoon, please, okay?
We're trying. I'm up at the very top of the mountain to get cell service, and it's kind of shoddy, but yep, I'll definitely keep trying.
I'll tell you, you're coming through loud and clear, though. It's a really clear signal, so...
I'm up on a massive tree stump right now. Let me tell you, not moving.
Not the most ideal place to be spending your Sunday for sure, but here we are. We'll get through it all together. Listen, like I said, please call us back and get back in touch with us.
I just wanted to let people know that we're here.
And that is a big area of the relief operation as well. The National Guard, in their update earlier today, said they were aware of the situation there on Black Mountain and were making sure that there was special aerial surveillance of the scene, and they were considering perhaps dropping supplies directly. Hopefully we'll get more of an update on that relief operation, especially after the sun comes up later today. Another update, since we were talking about the police chief, the fire chief, let's get an update from the police chief in Asheville, who called in on Sunday as well.
Hey, this is Michael M., Chief of Police of the Asheville Police Department, and calling from the Emergency Operations Center here at Station 13.
That's fantastic, Michael. First of all, I know you've got to be worn out. Thank you for the job you do. How can we help?
Well, yeah, thank you so much for that. We've got many first responders that are working tirelessly, basically 24/7 at this point. Some that have only had a handful of hours of sleep for the last 3 days. So just if you see a first responder out, whether that's fire, police, EMS, just thank them for being out there. Another way that you can help is by not going out unless you absolutely have to, because it's please conserve gasoline. The fuel in Asheville and the surrounding areas is extremely limited. So I know a lot of folks want to get out and kind of see things, but that creates dangerous situations and at different points, it's causing first responders to have to go from recovery and life-saving measures to help other folks. So please conserve gas. Don't come out unless you absolutely have to. If you have to come out, remember that at intersections where there is no power, that it becomes a four-way stop at that point. So each the intersections, it's just like to intersection with 4 stop signs. So just please do not barrel through those intersections, because we've had a handful of collisions as a result of people not adhering to that 4-way stop rule. So please do that. And then just be patient. Be patient with each other. Check on neighbors. We've got cell phone service that's coming online at different points, at different places within the community, and we're starting to get an increase of volume in 911 calls from that, because of just people being frustrated and tired out there with between the water situation, the power situation, and the telephone situation. We do have a lot of assets that are en route to Asheville between water, food, and also power. So that is good news that we're getting those. We don't have a timeline yet, but as soon as we get the updates on water distribution, food distribution, and when power and water will be running water will be restored, we'll get those out as soon as we get them.
Michael, I can listen in the background. I can hear the workers frantically getting things done right now. So if you're talking to somebody who feels like they're isolated and nobody knows they're there, you guys are working to get to them. So stay put. Don't get on the roadways. Like you say, some roads are impassable. And I love what you said about the traffic lights. I said, if the traffic lights are not working, that is a stop sign. That traffic light is not working. That's a stop sign, 4-way stop, no matter what. Have to be extra careful. And how are you doing? How do you feel? I mean, you've got to be. I know you're exhausted and your resources are probably stretched to the limits, but tell us how you are.
Well, yeah, it is definitely tiring. It's the work has been nonstop. So as far as being able to stop and sit and really just think and process the devastation and the catastrophe that our community has experienced, like our first responders really haven't had a chance to do that, because everybody's just working between doing escorts, providing security, helping out the hospital. Everybody's just working so hard that we've not had to have time to take a breath. So it'll really, once all this slows down, that's when we'll really just have to process everything that's going on, and then start to offer support to our first responders, so that we can have a break at some point. And the good news is we've got a lot of wonderful state law enforcement agencies that are on the way to Asheville to help out. So we've also got a lot of good federal resources that are on the way, including more resources from the National Guard. So, Indy, I tell you, I really want to talk about the wonderful people that we have in our community. I have seen people get their own chainsaws and pickup trucks out and, help clear roadways, help neighbors, bring people water, bring people food, and we really have a great community of people that support each other.
We've been talking about that here at iHeart Media, is that if you can venture out just to your neighbor to move a limb, move a tree, things like that, that's extra. That is taking the burden off you guys and the first responders. Anything you can do in a safe measure, not leaving your house to do this, but at least taking care of the folks around your neighborhood, that is a huge help. And that's what Western North Carolina is all about.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Well, Michael, like you said, I think the biggest takeaway, what we can say, stay put. Help is on the way. Like I said, you can hear like I said, in the background, you can hear all the workers going at it. You've been at it, and even the cavalry is still on its way here to even progress this along. We can't thank you enough for the job you do. We're lifting you guys up in prayer for safety and honestly for just some rest, because we know you'll need it.
Thank you, Kicks, and God bless you, and thank you for giving me the time on the air, and thank you for all the support that you're giving us.
Absolutely. Happy to talk to you. Thank you so much.
And we're going to have an update on new information about operations at Asheville's airport. I'm Rory O'Neill, along with John Mounts, and you're listening to iHeart's ongoing coverage of the rescue and recovery from Tropical Storm Helene.
WKSF-FM, Old Fort, Asheville. WQNQ-FM, Fletcher, Asheville. WQNS-FM, Woodfin, Asheville. WWNC-AM, Asheville. WPEK-AM, Fairview. WKSF HD2, Asheville. WKSF HD3, Candler.
We're here connecting the community. This is iHeartRadio Asheville's continuing coverage of rescue and recovery efforts from Tropical Storm Helene.
My name is Rory O'Neill. I'm joined with my counterpart, John Mounts, and this is iHeart's ongoing coverage of the rescue and recovery from Tropical Storm Helene. We did get an update from the Asheville airport. They were happy to announce that some airline services restarting, with Delta and United planning to have flights landing on Monday. American expected to do the same. We also got an update today from Governor Cooper, who provided a comprehensive update of the response to this storm.
Yesterday, we received word from Washington that President Biden approved my expedited request declaring a major disaster for 25 North Carolina counties and the eastern band of the Cherokees. This declaration will immediately pave the way for public assistance to help our hard-hit local governments, as well as provide much-needed relief to our residents through the Individual Assistance Program, and people are already signing up. We'll announce more information about this federal aid a little bit later. Depending on where you are, this unprecedented storm dropped from 10 to 29 inches of rain across the mountains, causing life-threatening floods and landslides. Unfortunately, 11 people in our state have died as a result of this storm, and tragically, we know there will be more. Our prayers and condolences go out to those families in this terrible time. Even as the rain and the winds have subsided, the challenge for people there increases. People are desperate for help, and we are pushing to get it to them, a massive effort. Many people are cut off because roads are impassable. They don't have power or communications. Please know that we are sending resources and coordinating closely with local governments, first responders, state and federal partners, and volunteer organizations to help those impacted by this tragic storm. Because it's so difficult to get trucks in by land, yesterday we began airlifting supplies, including food and water, into the region. A number of mass feeding sites have been opened. Water, food, and other supplies are coming into Asheville, and they're also being airlifted from there to surrounding counties. A 20-bed state medical support center is opening in Caldwell County today, and we will be setting up more. Search and rescue teams, including 19 teams from other states and 3 federal teams, have rescued hundreds of people, including more than 100 rescued by the North Carolina National Guard. Nearly 464,000 customers remain without power, down from a peak, though, of more than 1 million. The North Carolina Department of Transportation is getting food and water supply trucks, power and cell phone utility trucks, and other vehicles through the damaged roads and into western North Carolina. More than 500 North Carolina National Guard members are now working alongside local emergency responders, conducting search and rescue missions, delivering needed supplies, and working to restore infrastructure. Cell phone providers are working to fix the damage and get stopgap solutions in place, and rapid progress is being made. Restoring communications is critical to saving lives, finding out where people are, and getting in supplies. And I've been in constant contact with cell phone companies, urging action and offering them support. Well over 1,000 people have taken refuge in 24 shelters. People who need help finding shelter or other resources should call 211 or visit readync.gov. We've seen how during this hurricane, how successful our 911 backup systems have worked, as 911 calls are now being handled by counties not affected by the storm. I want to remind people to avoid calling 911, though, with non-emergency questions. More than 1,600 North Carolina Department of Transportation employees and contract crews are working to clear roads and get them open again. But travel in western North Carolina remains limited and dangerous. 280 state-maintained roads are closed, including parts of Interstate 40 and Interstate 26. Please stay off western North Carolina roads so that emergency responders, utility crews, and desperately needed supplies can get through. We don't need people visiting western North Carolina viewing the damage. The state emergency response team is working around the clock, and we are grateful for our local, state, and federal partners who are helping North Carolina in this time of need. We're seeing progress, but we know the need is great. Helene's impacts will continue, and people will continue to need our help. North Carolina is strong, and our first responders are the best in the country. I'm thankful for their hard work and for risking their lives to protect all North Carolinians. This is an unprecedented tragedy that requires an unprecedented response. We're hearing from many people who want to help, and we're grateful for that support. We're also activating the North Carolina Disaster Relief Fund, managed by the United Way of North Carolina. Later this afternoon, you'll be able to donate for Helene Relief at nc.gov/donate. Today, I'm joined by Emergency Management Director Will Ray, our North Carolina Department of Transportation Secretary Joey Hopkins, Major General Todd Hunt, the Adjutant General of the North Carolina National Guard, Colonel Freddie Johnson, the Commander of the North Carolina Highway Patrol, and we've got Cody Kinsley, our Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services. Our American Sign Language interpreters are Brian Tipton and Karen Marion. Behind the scenes, our Spanish language interpreters are Jackie Mativier and Erica Kugler. We'll first hear from Emergency Management. Will?
Thank you, Governor Cooper, and good afternoon. Western North
to get power back to hospitals and to make sure that they are operating. I'm going to turn the answer to that question over to Secretary Cody Kinsley, Department of Health and Human Services. We also know that there is significant damage to water systems throughout western North Carolina. There is a massive effort going on now to move water and other supplies into these affected areas because we know that they're going to be needed. But I'll first ask Secretary Kinsley to come forward and then Director Ray. Secretary Kinsley.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you, Will, for that question. Our team is in active contact with all of our healthcare facilities in Western North Carolina. And as of right now, all of our hospitals remain operating, albeit many of them on backup generator power and temporary water supply. We'll continue to work with our partners here at Unified Command and Director Ray as we evaluate the situation and bring supplies to the hospitals to sustain their operations.
Thanks, Will. So of the systems that we're currently tracking, 52 of them are without power. We have an additional 93 systems that are on a boil water advisory, and of those, 33 are awaiting test results to clear that advisory. We know that a combination of power, loss of power, is one contributing factor, but we also know that there's significant infrastructure damage.
In place order until at least midnight. We have been following this story since our morning show. A fire triggered a sprinkler at the biolab plant around 5:30 in the morning, and then that fire reignited around noon. The plume coming from the chemical reaction between the water and the product inside of that plant. The good news here is that no injuries have been reported. Thank you for joining us. I'm Carly Barnett. Rockdale County announcing all government buildings will remain closed tomorrow. The school system was already on a planned fall break, and at least one neighboring school district has closed as a precaution. Let's get a look at the map of the evacuation zone. This was provided by local emergency officials. Take a good look here. This is an 8-square-mile area north of I-20. There are safe havens set up right now for evacuees. We have team coverage tonight from neighboring Newton County. We begin with Atlanta News First reporter Bridget Spencer. So, Bridget, what have you learned so far tonight?
Well, the Newton County school system, they say they are closing just to be on the safe side here, to err on the side of caution, just in case there is something toxic in what we are seeing. And as far as we know, we just left the scene, and that plume that we saw earlier is still billowing into the sky.
Cookies or water?
Money for the cause.
Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate it, buddy.
Chris Jones and his son are doing the best they can to distract people who live in Rockdale County, all from the ongoing crisis at the nearby biolab facility.
Non-toxic water, fresh baked cookies, cute kids running around. I mean, it sells itself.
Rockdale County officials say a fire broke out on the roof around 5:30 in the morning. When the sprinkler system cut on, it mixed with a water-reactive chemical, and that's what caused this large plume that you can see for miles.
When we had that out, we started to offload the material, the product, and in the process of that, the fire reignited.
They got the fire under control around noon Sunday, but the reaction kept going, forcing evacuations just north of I-20. And now all of Rockdale County placed under a shelter-in-place order until midnight.
As a precaution, we do have EPA and EPD on scene right now, and until we get a reading of what the actual plume is, but yes, precautionary, being proactive to make sure everyone's safe.
This is not the first time this facility has had trouble.
This is probably the third incident of this magnitude. There are smaller incidents that occurred.
Luckily, nobody was hurt, but as the cleanup process continues, 17,000 people are being told to leave home.
What do you say? Thank you.
The Jones family just hoping to put some smiles on faces in the midst of uncertainty.
People love it. People are smiling and waving. Most of them say they've been in traffic for about an hour at this point, so they're enjoying the break from the monotony.
And it seems like you will have to pack your patience. This could be an ordeal that lasts for several more hours, possibly even days. We're live in Newton County tonight. Bridget Spencer, Atlanta News First.
Good to see people helping out where they can. Bridget, thank you. For those ordered to evacuate with no place to go, there are safe areas that have been set up. Atlanta News First Yasmina Alston is at the Burt Adams Boy Scout Camp in Covington. And Yasmina, thousands of people impacted by this.
And if you aren't sheltering in place, then you were told to evacuate. And the Burt Adams Scout Camp here in Covington is one of those places where people could come until it was safe to return home.
I ain't asked no more questions. I just got out and left. So I don't have anything.
A quick evacuation for TJ Lamar out of her Rockdale County home after a fire at a chemical facility early Sunday morning.
When the police came to our door and they knocked and was like, there's a hazard at Biolab.
Lamar lives only a couple of minutes away from from the biolab plant on Old Covington Highway in Conyers, where a sprinkler malfunctioned and sprayed water on a chemical, causing a reaction.
People wasn't moving fast enough, it just didn't feel urgent until they started shutting down the roads and the freeways.
This prompted orders for a lot of residents to evacuate and for others to shelter in place.
They said that they have some issue with the spill, biological issue, around the area, and that's why I cannot, I was not allowed to go in there. That's why.
On Sunday, an evacuation site was opened at Burt Adams Scout Camp. Lamar told Atlanta News First she didn't think twice about leaving.
Yes, my eyes were stinging, so I took it serious.
And residents say they do hope to return home as soon as possible. But again, Rockdale County is under a shelter in place. In Covington, Yasmina Alston, Atlanta News First.
And this is a developing situation.
Given that there have been some reports from small towns like Swannanoa, where the fire chief there says that entire neighborhoods are gone. Does the National Guard help with, going into neighborhoods like that where local authorities know that there are issues? And then does the National Guard also help with security, given that there are reports of looting and arguments breaking out at gas stations in western North Carolina?
Yes, thank you for the question. So I'll answer the second question first. Yes, we have heard reports of that, but you have to remember that the state of North Carolina has a robust capability in law enforcement. So, they will probably respond before the National Guard does. To answer your second question, our mission yesterday was search and rescue. We do have some indications through, like I mentioned previously before, on Facebook, social media, or just people who are able to get a cell phone call in. And we did go out and rescue those people. The one specifically you're talking about, they were 41 people out of that neighborhood that we rescued when I mentioned Buncombe County. But we are out flying today. We were flying yesterday. And if we see somebody that needs rescuing, we have the capabilities with our aircraft and our hoist aircraft and medevac to rescue those individuals just by flying through the area. Thank you.
Next question.
Our next question is from Ted Hessman with Reuters. Go ahead, Ted.
Hi, all. Thank you for having the call. I was wondering if you could give us an estimate of the total cost of the damage in the state and what your timeline is for things to be restored to some kind of normalcy.
Well, first, as quickly as possible, we want to return things to normalcy, but we know that it's going to be a matter of time when you have communities that are cut off. Everyone is working as hard as we can first to save lives, because there's still water rescues happening, to get supplies into people, to make sure we get communications back up, and to get power back on to people, and to repair roads so that we can get from one place to the next. All of those things are important. As soon as we are in a position, that process of assessing damages will occur. We're also going to be getting help to individual families through the individual assistance approved by this disaster declaration that we just got. But we don't know that yet. That'll be something that we'll continue to assess, and we will work to get things improved as quickly as possible.
Our next question is from WRAL TV. Go ahead, WRAL.
Hey, forgive me, guys. Wasn't sure if that was going to be my number or not. My question is related to the distribution of that food, the water, the supplies that's coming in. It's been mentioned that, this is a massive operation, but we're still hearing from so many people here in Western North Carolina who are waiting on that and who are looking for some kind of specific timeline here. So can we say when, specifically for these communities, they can expect to start receiving this water and start receiving this food?
Well, first, it is happening now. These commodities are being delivered. Remember, there are a lot of places that we're having difficulty even getting to and communicating with. I'm going to turn it over to Will Ray to give you the specifics of what is happening to coordinate that effort.
I think, as the governor said, we're dealing still with access issues into some communities. That's the reason we are looking at ground options as well as options via air, and why you see all the partners up here that you see. Really, it takes all of these partners to be able to clear roads, to provide support, to physically lift the commodities in and people out. And so that is an operation that started yesterday. It started very early this morning in both in air and ground to get it into some of the areas we know that are critical right now. That will go on throughout the day to day. And as we've talked, we are preparing to be able to do this for many, many days ahead so that North Carolinians have the support that they need.
Thank you very much for tuning in. We're going to continue to work around the clock to make sure that Western North Carolina gets help. We thank everybody for their support and for their prayers. Thank you.
WKSF FM, Old Fort, Asheville. WQNQ FM, Fletcher, Asheville. WQNS FM, Woodfin, Asheville. WWNC AM, Asheville. WPEK AM, Fairview. WKSF HD2, Asheville. WKSF HD3, Candler.
We're here connecting the community. This is iHeartRadio Asheville's continuing coverage of rescue and recovery efforts from Tropical Storm Helene.
My name is Rory O'Neill. I'm joined by my colleague, John Mounts, and you're listening to iHeart's ongoing coverage of the rescue and recovery from Tropical Storm Helene. And it is a huge, monumental task as the recovery efforts do finally start to get underway. We did get this note of a temporary closure for the Mountain Area Health Education Center. They said that while hospitals across the region are open, several healthcare practices, including Mountain Area Health Education Center, are temporarily closing. Now, they serve patients throughout Western North Carolina. They had to close all their locations for patients and staff because of damage and flooding by the storm. It's also difficult to get a hold of them right now, either on the phone or online. They are actively working to restore services. And this reminds me of a call that was placed earlier today to our team when we were discussing some of the healthcare challenges that the area is facing right now. A physician called in to explain why they can't take patients.
Hi, yes, my name is Dr. Casey Wilson. I'm over here at MedVet Asheville. We're over on Brevard Road. Currently, we're not able to receive cases, and I know when I've reached out to the folks over at Veterinary Emergency Group here in Asheville on Hendersonville Road, as well as Saves on Hendersonville Road, both their offices are currently unable to receive patients. And so I'm just trying to get the word out there for all pet owners. If you've got a baby that is desperately sick, critically injured, and you have to get them to veterinary care, the nearest facilities that I know that are available to receive for care are down in Greenville, South Carolina. Their names are Fetch in Greenville, North Carolina, VEG, VEG in North Carolina, that's short for Veterinary Emergency Group, as well as Upstate Veterinary Specialist down in Greenville, South Carolina. I know that Upstate Veterinary Specialist in Greenville is currently experiencing some issues with being able to take x-rays. And so if you feel like you have a baby that has broken leg or you're concerned for internal trauma, it may be better to go to the offices at Fetch Greenville. I'm not sure if that Veterinary Emergency Group in Greenville has those services, but it's always fair to try and give their offices a call. If you're in the Flat Rock area, just south of Hendersonville Road, I know that there also is a Western Carolina Regional Animal Hospital that is available. They're located on 205 North Highland Lake Road in Flat Rock, North Carolina. I want everybody to stay safe. If you don't need to bring your baby in, you feel like they're relatively stable, I echo everybody else's recommendations of sheltering in place if able. We're just experiencing a high number of calls, and we want to be able to provide as prompt a care as we can, but we're currently no offices in the Asheville area that I know of are able to receive these babies. So try and get care in Greenville or down in Flat Rock. And obviously, if anybody else has the information in the area, feel free to call into the radio station and see if they can get that information out. We appreciate everybody's patience.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And if you wouldn't mind, please stay in touch with us as the situations change throughout the next couple of days.
We absolutely will.
Thanks so much.
We're trying to be here as quickly as we can. Take care, y'all.
I know so many people are concerned about their pets during this time, but, we also have to be taking care of ourselves. One of the issues is just trying to stay out of the emergency room by doing stupid things, falling off ladders. You wouldn't believe the number of people injured by chainsaws in these kinds of recovery operations. And John, they really can be the kind of silly accident that then bogs down emergency rooms.
A lot of times, and I own a chainsaw, and before I've tried to, trim things up when We have had some trees down in my yard, and I'm always concerned that I'm going to injure myself because I don't have the right protective clothing. You're supposed to wear, special pants that will jam the chainsaw if you hit your leg. You're supposed to wear eye protection, ear protection, all these things. And I'll admit I'm guilty of sometimes not wearing the protection, and sometimes you don't have those things. And it's very important that you are careful, especially in a time like this where it's going to be difficult to get to a hospital. The hospital might not have what they need to take care of you as well. So yes, you should definitely be mindful of all of that if you're going to try and use any power equipment to get the trees off of your road.
Right, and that also means closed-toed shoes. You wouldn't believe the number of people still in flip-flops out there, even in these conditions. I know the flooding, but still, closed-toed shoes, please, and gloves whenever you can. The sturdier, the better, especially when you're handling some of that debris. If you're cutting out some drywall that got soaked, if you are tossing out some insulation, you don't know what nails are floating around in there. Suddenly it ends up to a trip trying to get across town to the hospital for a quick visit to the ER. For something silly that could have been avoided. So really try to use all the care possible on doing these cleanup jobs, because you don't want to have that unnecessary trip to an urgent care center to try to deal with something that could have been avoided. Another conversation we had earlier today came with Michael Brown. Remember him? He was the point man as we recovered from Hurricane Katrina in the New Orleans area. A former director of FEMA, now part of the iHeart family. Michael joined us earlier Sunday afternoon.
Michael Brown is with us, and good afternoon, Michael. Thanks so much for spending some time with us. We just heard Governor Cooper there talking about the response and the federal response as to what is happening. From your perspective, how is this response unfolding so far?
Well, frankly, first, all of my heartfelt prayers go out to everyone that's been devastated by this storm. And I want to make a comment, as I told your listeners last night. People who have been affected by this disaster are in shock. They've either totally lost their homes have been flooded, or they don't know because they weren't at home, and they can't get back into the area. So people's mental state is one of a psychological shock. And why do I point that out? Because people will go through a cycle of grief. I mean, it's just like having lost a loved one. When you lose your home, you lose all of your material possessions, all of those things. People start going through a grieving process, and part of that process is, quite honestly, getting frustrated. And I'm glad I called in just a little bit early so I could hear some of the commentary about the logistics that's going on. Because let's first talk about individuals themselves. The advice that I would give to everyone listening is the same advice that I gave to firefighters and rescue workers on September 11th. The same advice that I gave to rescue workers and firefighters and the Coast Guard and everybody during Hurricane Katrina is you must first take care of yourself. And even though you may have lost your home, you don't know what's going on, make certain that you find shelter, someplace where you can, either through the Salvation Army, Baptist Men's Association, Franklin Graham's group, any number of nonprofit organizations that will set up shelters, feeding places. Please, 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 first take care of yourself, because if you don't get rest, which I know is difficult to do, but if you don't get rest, if you don't take care of your nutritional requirements, then you're not going to be able to deal psychologically with this horrific disaster that's occurred in Asheville. So that's my first advice. And if you do that, that will help you better understand and deal with the truly logistical nightmare that the National Guard, local officials, whether it be firefighters or first responders, whomever they are, they're facing a logistical nightmare. I heard some conversation about, getting food and getting supplies in certain areas, and they're still working on the 5 W's, who, what, where, when, and why of how to do that. Well, let me explain why they're doing that. They're doing that because, for example, even though we have, some of the greatest military equipment in the world, Black Hawk helicopter, if it doesn't have a place to land, or a Chinook doesn't have a place to land, they can't necessarily get those supplies, whether it be food, shelter, whatever, into those disaster areas. Because, for example, if they just airdrop them, that does no good because it lands in an area where there are no people that know how or have the expertise to set up those feeding stations or to set up that. So they're going through this nightmare of how do we clear roads, for example, to get vehicles into a disaster area? How do we get those vehicles in so we can create an LZ, a landing zone for the helicopters? So all of that is frustrating because the people who have been affected are looking for help right now. And that help is coming. I mean, the cavalry's on the way, but they have to get there, and getting there can be yeoman's work. That can be like trying to get through a combat zone. Roads, bridges are blocked, washed away. Electrical lines are down. I mean, I'm painting the picture that everyone sees, but I'm just telling you as an objective observer that it's going to take time for all of that to happen. And so you must first take care of yourself while all of these people who are outside the disaster zone are trying to get all of the food and shelter and everything that they need in. Right. Help those of you who are listening on, hopefully listening on a transistor radio, or if you have internet, however you're listening. I just encourage you to first take care of yourselves, because these first responders, I know them all well, and they will walk over fire to get you help. But walking over fire takes time.
Yeah.
And so that's my best advice to folks right now.
Michael, when you look at the caliber of this catastrophe, because that's the only way one can label this as a catastrophe, in comparison to what we normally see when a hurricane hits Florida or something like that, this seems like it is just exponentially worse, mainly because of the geography and all of the Mother Nature related things that we're having to kind of combat against to get in. That makes putting up power lines harder. It makes getting to fiber optics harder. Obviously, with these rivers and creeks, it makes it even more so.
It absolutely does. And let me, and I'm not trying to be callous here, but none of this surprises me, because some of the hurricanes that I dealt with back in the early 2000s during the Bush administration hit kind of to the west of where you are.
Right.
And we have to remember that it's not really the hurricane. It's not the winds. It's the flooding. It's the water. It's the flash flooding that's done this horrific damage.
Right.
And, places have just been completely obliterated, and roads and highways, bridges have been obliterated. And so, yes, it is a catastrophe because of the geography, not necessarily because of, kind of forget the hurricane language and instead start focusing on the flooding and the flash flooding and the damage that I think people just don't understand the power of water.
Right.
And when water comes crashing down a mountain, there's very little, if anything, that can stop that if you haven't prepared for that in advance.
There we go.
And that's what the first responders are dealing with right now.
My guest today, former FEMA director Michael Brown, and also Michael, a member of our iHeart family. And Michael, thank you so much for your time. We certainly appreciate it.
And that was Michael Brown, the former FEMA administrator, giving some of his thoughts as the recovery operations continue. We'll have a report about the situation unfolding in Haywood County as we roll on here. My name is Rory O'Neill. I'm joined with John Mounts, and you're listening to iHeart's ongoing coverage of the rescue and recovery from Tropical Storm Helene.
WKSF-FM, Old Fort, Asheville. WQNQ-FM, Fletcher, Asheville. WQNS-FM, Woodfin, Asheville. WWNC-AM, Asheville. WPEK-AM, Fairview. WKSF-HD2, Asheville. WKSF-HD3, Candler.
We're here connecting the community. This is iHeartRadio Asheville's continuing coverage of rescue and recovery efforts from Tropical Storm Helene.
That's John Mounts. I'm Rory O'Neill, and as the big voice just said, you're listening to iHeart's ongoing coverage of the rescue and recovery from Tropical Storm Helene. And John, I know you've been keeping tabs on the situation about getting drinking water in Asheville.
That's right, because the underground system has been substantially damaged, and they're saying that it's not only just the pipes, it's the treatment facilities as well, because with the loss of power, they haven't been able to effectively treat the water, and then that's causing low pressure in the pipes, which is causing backflow of bad stuff into the pipes, which is why people are needing to boil their water, even if you have water. And they're saying that as repairs remain under progress, there's going to probably be very low levels, and then they're going to try and get you some bottled water distributed. But, of course, they're having a hard time getting all that water in, and they're encouraging you, by the way, that bottled water is for drinking, not for flushing or washing your laundry or anything like that.
Good point. And I know we've been focusing a lot on Asheville this past hour, so let's expand things a little bit, going to Haywood County and getting an update of the situation there from PIO Allison Richmond.
And joining me tonight for a evening update from Haywood County Public Information Officer Allison Richmond. And Allison, really good to hear your voice again tonight. How are things in Haywood County from the 30,000-foot perspective right now?
We made a lot of good progress today. I think we got a lot of systems back online. We've got some water coming into the county for folks who still don't have water service. We have fresh water for families in Canton. It's kind of in between Canton and Clyde, so it's up on the hill there in the Canton Plaza. Folks can come and bring their own containers. You'll be able to get a gallon of water per person or 5 gallons of water for a family if you've got enough containers for that. That will be there at 8 o'clock in the morning. They'll be there 8 to 6 all day long, so you can come get fresh water. There will be a second water tank. We're just working on a location for that. We'll announce that tomorrow. We know that we don't have any schools going on, so we have a chance to stay home and keep working on getting cleaned up. Encouraging people as they're cleaning up to be careful. There's still critters, animals are let loose by the flood, and just watch out for surprises out there. Stay off the roads if you can. We're still seeing here a lot of down lines. We had a couple new landslides overnight, and we had a little bit more rain, so some of the slopes that were already failing slipped a little bit more. So we're seeing some instability out there with landslides still. Most of the water in Haywood County has receded, but there's still some pockets where it's not safe. So especially after dark, we have a curfew here in the county from 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. just to kind of encourage people to stay home and stay safe. So check on your neighbors, take care of each other. We're just encouraging people to look out for each other as much as possible, to share and share alike, to conserve fuel. That's still an issue in the county. We had a lot of long lines at fuel stations today, so try to be conservative with that. Conserve water as well until we get more resources in.
Right.
Haywood County is under a boil water alert, so if you're able to boil that water, keep it safe. Try not to drink anything that's unsafe until we can get the systems back up and running. But I think we made a lot of good progress on infrastructure issues today, and I think we'll continue to see that improve little by little over time.
Allison, as far as supplies getting into Haywood County, how is that supply chain working for you right now?
It's starting to come together. We got one water truck up and running. There's another one that has arrived, and it needs to be upfitted so we can use it. That'll be in place tomorrow. We've also got food coming, so there'll be resources starting to show up in communities here very soon.
Excellent. This is always the question I hate to ask because I always fear that there's going to be an answer to it. Do we have any idea yet, Allison, of any number of casualties or fatalities?
I don't have confirmed numbers for you. I'm sure that there will be. I don't have that information just yet. We're working on getting some things confirmed, and we'll be publishing some information on that soon, I'm sure. Unfortunately, we're much like other counties. We've suffered some losses. We just don't have firm numbers yet on how many. It's difficult.
We're hearing an awful lot about little tiny areas that have literally just been decimated and wiped off the map. And Haywood County seems like it was kind of an epicenter for that, unfortunately.
A lot of little areas that don't normally get hit were just hit hard. Maggie Valley has had some significant slope failures. I know there's been issues up Lake Logan that weren't there during Fred. A lot of damage in areas that a little bit more unexpected than usual. We know that we're going to see flooding in Crusoe and Canton and Clyde and down the Pigeon River, but Clyde just got walloped. I mean, they got hit hard. The water was much higher than I've ever seen it.
Right.
the damage is extensive. The water was quite a bit higher in Canton than it was during Fred. And then in Maggie Valley and Jonathan Creek, I mean, just utter devastation out there where it's low-lying valley areas. The water just came up so fast.
Right.
And we're only just now kind of getting a handle on what we're seeing as teams come back from the field to give us reports on what they're experiencing.
Right. So let me just kind of ask you just one more question here. How are you doing?
Mm-hmm. It's been a struggle. I'm not going to lie. I had a moment today. I haven't seen my best friend in days, and I was really worried about how they were doing. And I knew that she was safe where she was, but I laid eyes on her for the first time. And, you just have those emotional moments where you reconnect with somebody, and everybody's having it. Just to hug somebody familiar and, be seen for a moment, as outside of what you're trying to get accomplished. It was...
Yeah, I know.
It was good.
I heard my wife's voice for the first time and my son's voice for the first time today as well. It was, it's one of those things, and it's like I knew they were okay, but it's like you want to just put eyes on things and make sure that it's okay. Allison, thank you so much for all you have done and all your team is doing. I know it is a monumental undertaking because it's an absolute catastrophe that has hit Western North Carolina, and it reshapes this region. Absolutely.
It really does. I don't think any of us quite have a way to wrap our heads around.
Again, a confirmed tornado on the ground in downtown Conyers. This is a very dangerous and life-threatening weather event. Get into the interior section of your house, away from windows or a basement if you have. And there's the debris right there in the Millstead area near the Rockdale Medical Center. Right. Channel 1 Atlanta.
There is a storm coming, an event like the world has never seen before. The emerging event will have little to do with weather, but more about developing situations that were foreseen many years ago. We have always warned you during severe weather and news events that affected many. Now, Channel 1 Atlanta begins a new series to warn you about what's coming soon and make sure you are prepared. Join us on a new journey, as according to a recent survey, a lot of people believe we are living in the last days. Current news events show us now more than ever. In history, time is setting the stage for the coming storm. A new series, now playing only on Channel 1 Atlanta.
Resources staff continue to work around the clock to respond to the emergency, but they say the Bee Tree Dam, if you see water coming around that, that's part of the design function that's been built into it. And some other things to pass along: free bottled water, speaking of water, should be available again today or Monday at the Fresh Market parking lot. That's the store of the Fresh Market supermarkets, so keep that in mind. And State Farm, the insurance company, the largest insurance company of all North Carolina, is preparing and beginning a large response to help process the claims as a result. We're going to hear more information about them filing or setting up some emergency filing claim centers. A lot of it can be done online through their app if you have that service. When we get the address of the State Farm location, we will be sure to pass that along with the hours. And of course, State Farm is just one of the insurers as they set up a kind of temporary village to process claims. We'll get all that information relayed to you as quickly as possible. However, Most homeowners' policies do not cover losses caused by floods. That coverage is not included in standard home insurance policies. Flood insurance, purchased through the National Flood Insurance Program, that provides your flood insurance. Now, whether or not this is classified as hurricane/tropical storm damage or flood damage, that's something you're going to have to argue about, probably for, well, let's just say prepare to have an argument about what exactly caused some of this flooding. John Mounts and I will be back for another hour as iHeart's ongoing coverage of the rescue and recovery of Tropical Storm Helene continues.
WKSF-FM, Old Fort, Asheville. WQNQ-FM, Fletcher, Asheville. WQNS-FM, Woodfin, Asheville. WWNC-AM, Asheville. WPEK-AM, Fairview. WKSF-HD2, Asheville. WKSF-HD3, Candler.
We're here connecting the community. This is iHeartRadio Asheville's continuing coverage of rescue and recovery efforts from Tropical Storm Helene.
I'm Rory O'Neill, and I'm joined by my colleague, John Mounts, and this is iHeart's ongoing coverage of the rescue and recovery of Tropical Storm Helene. Of course, everyone wants to know, when are the lights coming back on? That, of course, is going to be the big challenge, and it may be days and days, perhaps weeks, to get power restored in some locations. And, John, I know you've been looking at a lot of the numbers that are going in the right direction. You know, more people are getting their power back, but still, a lot of people in western North Carolina are still in the dark.
That's right. And Rory, it tends to go, what's interesting is sometimes you'll have a situation where power is restored, then they take it away again because what's happening is they restore it to one area, they realize there's problems, so they have to de-energize to work safely. I spoke with Duke Energy yesterday about this, and the person I spoke to said that's a very common occurrence, and unfortunately it looks like power is not going to be restored, a lot of it, until they say no later than Friday evening. Now that's, 5 days away. So we're obviously, hoping for sooner, and some places will be sooner, but some places not.
Yeah, and keep in mind as well, as they're surging thousands and thousands, I think nearly 20,000 Duke Energy workers alone from across the country are coming in. But this is also a crisis now unfolding still in I think 10 states in all are still recovering from hurricane or tropical storm Helene. Florida is still dealing with 250,000 people without power. Georgia's got another 500,000 without power. Even Virginia had 100,000 without power. Indiana, 10,000 without power. So just to give you a rough idea as to how all the different states are trying to grapple with this. And the good thing is that as they wrap up those repairs in Kentucky and Indiana and West Virginia, a lot of those resources then get sent to the Asheville area to try to speed up repairs. But we've heard from
Rory. I was going to run over these numbers real fast because this is.
Sure.
I'm just looking at this, incredible. In Buncombe County, 64%. This is as of noon today. 64% of customers are still without power, but Burke County, 75%, and in Henderson County, get this, 100%. That's 69,000 people are without power according to their estimates. Rutherford, 90% without power.
And I know a lot of people are also running generators. That's been the other issue with so many people trying to get gas, is to try to keep the generators going. Just use the generator sparingly. It's not hot out. You're not running air conditioning. But if you just run the refrigerator a few hours at a time, a couple times a day, rather than have that thing going all night long when you don't really need it, you're going to save yourself a lot of gas, and you'll save the frustration of the neighbors who get angered by that generator humming along all night. But those generators also, there are a lot of resources available to people with generators, as we heard from Mike in Greer, South Carolina.
I just want to call in and give a couple updates real quick and let people know that live here in Greer, South Carolina. Gas is up and going. Going to be waiting a little bit, time, stuff like that. But one of my friends just posted also that the Greer Home Depot in Greer just got a truckload of generators.
Okay.
So letting people know that are without power, stuff like that. All
right, thank you, sir. We appreciate your call.
Yes, thank you so much. Be safe out
No
there.
problem.
Yeah.
And Rory, I wanted to bring something up while we're talking about generators, because we've already seen deaths from people who are attempting to use their generator in their homes. And people think, well, I won't put it in my living room, but I'll run it, say, in the garage with the garage door open.
Right.
But that's still not enough, because if your garage is, say, underneath your house, that exhaust still builds up. The carbon monoxide will go into other parts of your house, and you can pass away without even realizing that you're being exposed to those fumes.
Right, that gas has no odor and it is deadly, which is why the rule is you should keep the generator 20 feet from the house and not near any open windows either. You don't want that carbon monoxide blowing into the house. So if you are using a generator, make sure it is at least 20 feet away from the house. That's a pretty good distance, but really that is a measure for safety. And you should have a carbon monoxide detector in the home whenever you are running a generator. Every time there's a crisis like this and people use these generators, the story comes up every time that one member of the family, 2, 3 whole households of people have been killed or at least gotten very, very sick as a result of carbon monoxide poisoning. So that's something else to always be careful of, and use those things like chainsaws, as we were talking about, use them with great care. But there's also a more modern issue that's been coming up, and I think we've seen it a lot with Hurricane Helene and the way that it hit Florida, and that is the dangers posed by EVs when we see all this flooding. So that's something else you have to look out for. Michael Moody had an update for people who have electric vehicles.
My name is Michael Moody. I'm in Canton, North Carolina.
Michael, how are things looking over in Canton?
It's definitely worse than it was in Fred, that's for sure. My wife and I, we went out last night, and so, we drive electric vehicles, and I haven't heard you talk about that. So I wanted to let everybody know that the superchargers over by the Asheville outlets are up and running, and also the ones over at the Long Shoals Road, those are also up and running. Okay. I can't speak to the ones over in Hendersonville. Also, I don't know if you know anything about, there's this, it's called the Disaster Resource Group. They were staging hundreds of trailers over by the Asheville outlets. It looks like they're temporary housing, but they were just staging trailers over in the Asheville outlets parking lot. Trailers, just hundreds and hundreds of trailers over there when we were over there last night charging. Just tons of those. And we also heard from friends over in Crusoe that the bridges have been washed out. It's just terrible over there. We've seen some of the pictures that they've sent us. It's quite bad.
That's a good point about the electric cars.
Yeah,
if you need
thanks
a charge,
for that update.
Absolutely pertinent information, Michael. Thank you so much for calling, sir.
Be careful out there.
Yes, we want to say just that hearing voices on the radio, it really did make us cry. That we were cut off from all communication.
We were too. I know exactly how you're feeling, sir.
So thank you again for all that you're doing.
Yeah, and those EVs have posed other problems when they do flood out. Sometimes they can ignite, and we've seen several house fires in the Tampa Bay area, up in the Florida Big Bend and Panhandle as well. So they do have some of these special concerns when it comes to parking the EV in your house. That's something to be looking out for if you have one of these electric cars in your future. Of course, gas isn't perfect either. We've seen plenty of long lines for gas today, really all across the region. And sometimes things have gotten a little bit ornery. Zane called in to talk about what he thought was a possible altercation between people fighting at gas pumps.
Doing well. How are you?
We're doing okay. We're doing okay. How can we help you out, or what kind of information do you have for us?
Well, a few things real quick. First off, I just wanted to thank y'all, bless y'all for keeping everybody connected how you can out here. It's kind of crazy, with the lines and everything. People get gas and they're out of it. There's one ATM up here by Apollo Flame. If you don't have cash and you need cash, get there quick. Also at the Shell over here on Bard Road across from Taco Bell about 30 minutes ago, it looks like somebody was shot over an altercation in the gas pumps.
Oh, jeez.
So, yeah, that's just getting taken care of. There's still some cops, but the ambulance has already left. But
and tell me that location again.
The Brevard Road Shell, beside from Ingalls, across from Taco Bell.
I got you. Okay.
So yeah, there's a lot of traffic out here, including what was already out here. So I mean, if you don't have to come out, don't come out, as y'all were saying. But for anybody who needs like emergency repair or anything, I also run a handyman service. Feel free to reach out to Handy Hippie Services. I'll do what I can to help, and I'm not going to charge an arm and a leg either.
Yeah, so a lot of people from the region reaching out to help one another when they can as well. People offering their services at this time when a lot of people could use some help. And he did mention law enforcement getting involved there. A couple of things I wanted to pass along. The North Carolina Sheriff's Association confirmed that 2 deputies in western North Carolina died as a result of the flooding and hazardous conditions caused by Hurricane Helene. They put out a message on social media saying in the wake of this devastating storm, a deputy from the Macon County Sheriff's Office and a deputy from the Madison County Sheriff's Office were tragically killed in raging floodwaters. In the social media post, they said, "We ask that you keep the families, friends, and colleagues of these deputies, as well as the entirety of Western North Carolina, in your thoughts and prayers during this unfathomable and difficult time." Earlier today, the sheriff in Buncombe County did confirm that the death toll had risen to 30 people now confirmed dying across the region, a number that perhaps could rise in the days ahead. And another update from the county, they said if you are in a position to help, if you have donations, some equipment you may have, or if you have questions about specific needs, you can email the county at Helene Donations, with an S, Helene Donations at buncombecounty.org. Or if you have time, if maybe you've got power at your home, maybe you came through scot-free and you have time to volunteer, you can also email Helene Volunteers, with an S, Helene Volunteers at buncombecounty.org. So 2 email addresses to keep in mind as the recovery from this moves forward. And we are seeing more food operations standing up at Bear's Smokehouse. The World Central Kitchen set up a free food giveaway on Sunday afternoon. I'm sure they'll be back again on Monday, and we'll be sure to update any additional addresses that they have for food distribution points throughout the region. Coming up next, we'll play back the press conference from the county earlier on Sunday afternoon for the latest information on the recovery operations. I'm Rory O'Neill. I'm joined by John Mounts, and you're listening to iHeart's ongoing coverage of the rescue and recovery from Tropical Storm Helene.
WKSF FM, Old Fort, Asheville. WQNQ FM, Fletcher, Asheville. WQNS FM, Woodfin, Asheville. WWNC AM, Asheville. WPEK AM, Fairview. WKSF HD2, Asheville. WKSF HD3, Candler.
We're here connecting the community. This is iHeartRadio Asheville's continuing coverage of rescue and recovery efforts from Tropical Storm Helene.
I'm Rory O'Neill. I'm joined by John Mounts, and you're listening to iHeart's ongoing coverage of the rescue and recovery from Tropical Storm Helene. Buncombe County held a press briefing on Sunday afternoon to give us the latest information on the recovery operation. We wanted to share it with you now in its entirety.
We are here today at a 4 p.m. media briefing, September 29th. We have representatives from Buncombe County government, Black Mountain, Asheville City Schools. I believe Maggie's on the call. Her connection was a bit spotty, so if she drops off, we'll have her on at the 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. We also have Bill Norton with Duke Energy and Sheriff Miller. To get us started today, we will start with remarks from County Manager Avril Pender.
Thank you, Stacey. Good afternoon. Buncombe County, let me start by saying that we hear you. We need food and we need water. My staff has been making every request possible to the state for support, and we've been working with every single organization that has reached out. My promise to you is that we are very close, and you'll have more information before the end of the day. We also know that cell service is key to easing the hearts and minds of our loved ones. We are happy to share that as a stopgap, the City of Asheville has partnered with Verizon to set up a temporary satellite cell tower in the parking lot of 35 Woodfin Street. This tower will offer an opportunity for a limited cell reception within several city blocks of where it is parked. Again, that is 35 Woodfin Street, and it would give cell reception within several city blocks of where it is parked. So thanks to our partner at the City of Asheville. There's a danger of more landslides today. Go to a designated public shelter if you have been told to evacuate or you feel it is unsafe to remain in your home. Our search and rescue crews are continuing to work. We know that we have areas in Fairview, Black Mountain, Swannanoa, and Barnersville where the devastation is on.